What's going on YouTube? I am your host, Spinkster Cell. So today we are going into full depth review mode over this little bullpup. This is the APS UAR Urban Assault Rifle. Now obviously this is made by APS and I've had some pretty good experience with them so far. I love their pistols and their gas blowbacks. Had one AEG which was kind of decent, and this one reminds me of that one a little bit performance wise. So this gun was previously owned by one of our newest team members, Agent Hollow, has purchased this gun and used it for a little bit, and I asked to use it for a CQB game at Red Dot Airsoft, and I found that the gun performed excellent. It did really well for those CQB environments. Now I'd say it's probably one of the smaller bullpups that you can find. The only other gun about this size would be the Magpul PDR, which is about 400 plus if you're going to find that gun. So this is an alternative to that. Very small, compact bullpup that takes M4 magazines. Now this is a conceptual design from APS, so all the people in the real still world got pretty jealous of this gun when it came out. Now of course you could probably 3D print it, and there are also a lot of 3D printing kits which make this gun look really nice. You could do like a Halo battle rifle kind of thing. And this gun was also featured in that one TV show called The Expanse, I believe. It's like a space show. They just threw some random bits on it, made it look more sci-fi than it already does. So this is a very futuristic bullpup rifle. Of course, it's going to be made out of polymer. Metal parts is kind of slim. You have like pins, parts where sling mounts go, bolts. I think that the selector switch is going to be metal. Trigger, pins, the magazine release buttons, which we'll go into more detail, are polymer, and then a metal side rail and a big muzzle brake on the front. This gun looks really good with red dots and all that. I do have a Magpul AFG on the front, which works out very well. Now the quality of this polymer is not as high as the quality of like Magpul products. You'll see that it looks a little different and it's less shiny. It's just not as high quality, but you could still throw this around and really beat it up, and it'll keep on trucking along, keep on shooting. And I do run lipos in this gun with around .25s, .28s is the BB type I use in this. There are two battery locations, one in the back and one underneath this like kind of heightened rail, which is perfect for using certain types of masks, and Airsoft may be too bulky to look down your sights. No issues on that with this gun. So full polymer build, I'm not exactly sure how much it weighs. We are going to be getting our specifications from Evike, but also I have the APS website pulled up, so we'll take a look at both of them and compare prices. So here we are on evike.com. This is the UAR, and of course it has a version 2 gearbox, but it's a bit of a hybrid, so I'll go into detail about that. So we have $219 for the black one. And there's nothing really special about it besides the color. We see that it goes down in price for the tan one for some reason. I do want to paint this gun if I decide to buy it from Hollow, which is the plan. Gonna either paint it full black or half and half with OD green. So it looks like the hydro dipped it in that same color as my other APS gun, which is cool, so they're still doing that. You could pause it here if you'd like, or if you already are up to speed with Evike's review. They say 350 for the FPS. A weight of 2,460 grams, inner barrel length of 385. It does have a aluminum inner barrel, which is very nice. Comes with a 190 round high cap. It's a version 3 hybrid of the version 2, which I keep hearing about. This gun is a little different with the gearbox. Compatibility should be pretty normal, and it does appear to be lipo ready, which is always good. Here we are on the APS website. Now this one's going to be a little bit different. They have a lot of stuff about their guns, but you can see the price is very different on here. $150 for both versions of the gun. So I'm not sure why Evike has it for more money. Maybe it's just supply and demand. It's a really popular, cheap bullpup to get into, which happens to be reliable at the same time. Go ahead and talk about the after action report a little early in the video. Using it at Dreadnought. Pretty good trigger response, pretty good speed. It's definitely not fast even with the lipo. It could be a lot faster. Maybe if you got the short stroke edition for the trigger, which we'll go into detail about why you're going to need that. So really easy to whip this gun around considering its length, its weight, and its size. Very comfortable. I had no issues with ergonomics while using it in close quarters. Pretty much zero issues at all while maneuvering in tight spaces and quickly getting target acquisition with this little comfortable bullpup. Super easy. it may seem weird that I would even have to mention that, but there are awkward guns out there like the TAR-21, which is another bullpup, which sometimes bullpups are hit or misses when it comes to ergonomics and comfort. Overall, the length of the gun, not very long at all. If we're going to compare it to an M4, you're going to find it very easy to put this gun into your backpack instead of an actual rifle case. This is a rifle case, and as you can see how much space we have on either end, so you can maybe even still have your suppressor or big muzzle brake still attached in the bag. So we're just going to grab the weapon here and go over features and controls of this weapon. This is going to be a very good gun for kids and for girls, or just for those of smaller stature are going to very much enjoy a gun like this if you don't quite like maybe the P90, which would be my recommendation. So the pistol grip, very comfortable. You can see you have some ergonomic grooves in there with some texturing. We'll get a closer look at that later, but it is a very nice degree, and that is very comfortable. No issues there. The trigger is really easy to get to. So we have 3 magazine release options with this gun, which is what makes it kind of funky and kind of cool. You don't have to change your grip stance, say you're shooting, and then you just release the mag like that. Super simple, super easy. You have another one over here in case you want to switch, or say you want to hit this button with your thumb, or however you intend to do it. And then you also have one in the very back here, which is kind of like a TAR-21's location, but very recessed and flush, so you really got to push in. It's not something that's sensitive. So I don't like to use the one in the back. Obviously, I prefer my trigger finger. For controls, you do have the fire selector right here. So that is safe with the little X on the skull, 3 skulls for full auto, and then 1 skull for semi-automatic. This is a full metal selector switch, which is ambidextrous on both sides. Important feature about this gun that I will talk about is that there's a lot of slack and play on this trigger. We'll find out for sure when the battery's connected. I will say that the trigger pull is very long and squishy, and the actual fire point is probably like around here somewhere. Can't really feel it. This is a trigger contact and not a micro switch. So a micro switch in this gun would make it absolutely awesome, and it would also increase the rate of fire and all that. So rate of fire due to the trigger, you're not going to get very awesome results. But I have been told by Chris, the owner of this gun, that they have a kit that shortens your actual trigger pull. Otherwise, speaking of the trigger, it is a full metal and very nicely texturized, very comfortable trigger to pull on. It's also kind of skeletonized and kind of flat, but pointing at an angle. So if you can get it like about there, this gun would be perfect. So other things we're going to talk about, the front of the weapon, you can see our full polymer design, and then you can actually see we have key mod holes here, which is done into the polymer. So we have 2 Picatinny rails on each side, the full length monolithic upper, and then the built-in lower, which is obviously a good fit for your Magpul products. In the very front here, we have our muzzle brake device. See the paint's a little worn on it. And the inner barrel, the aluminum one, is at the very tip. You could see on the inside there is threading on the outer portion, or no, I mean the inner portion, but the end of the muzzle device. So perhaps a adapter of some kind or another muzzle device can go on top of that, make it longer. I don't know. It's weird. But it is standard 14mm counterclockwise threads, so you can remove this, and it is kind of heavy. It is actually quite heavy. It's got a lot of weight to it. So that's that, the muzzle device. It's interesting. It's cool. I like it. Then you can see our inner barrel and this cool design on the inside. Now, this part here is a fake gas block, which is supposed to be removable. Looks like it has 2 tabs. We'll get further into that when I know more about it. I've never done it, but this whole section on the top is a battery compartment. Just no need to open it because our lipos fit really well in the stock. That these little pieces in here can slide out. This will just be like a covering for that extra battery space. So we can put on our muzzle device, and I have tested this gun with a suppressor and it looked really good. It was a really nice fit. So other features of the weapon, we've already gone over pretty much the whole front. You can see our upper rail is built into it. Polymer. We have our very nice looking charging handle bolt situation set up. Now it says Cal 6mm on the bolt, which I'm never too happy about. I'd rather have it say 556. And then we have what looks like a made-up serial number on the bolt, and then the APS UAR logo right there. I'm not sure that's APS's logo. I don't know if it was specific to the UAR, but we do have more trademarks. The UAR logo there. And then we have this very cool APS style skull molded into the polymer, the rubberized polymer of the buttstock. So that's pretty neat. Other than markings, that's all you get. So back to the bolt. The bolt is metal anodized black. You have a nice polymer charging handle, which you can yank all the way back for full travel. Very realistic, despite being a concept gun. Here we have our metal gearbox. So we have what looks like a metal hop-up unit right there. It is like AK style slider, so back and forth. It's all the way back right now, which seems to do decent for indoor gameplay. So this little logo is polymer and texturized and built in. This is like right where your cheek goes. This is the bolt release. So shouldering the gun and putting your cheek down will release the bolt if you apply enough pressure to this spot, and that will release your bolt. So pretty cool design. I like how it's not all lame and it opens like that far and you stick your pinky in there. No, it actually goes all the way. But wait, there is more. This is actually a fully ambidextrous gun, and they thought of everything. Even though this doesn't eject any shells or shoot any real bullets, they still thought about this kind of stuff. Yeah, you gotta pull it back first. So if you push down on this polymer button, you can release the charging handle bolt. And then this section here, the cheek rest, will actually pop right off. Maybe it won't pop right off. I think that the back portion has to come off as well. So 2 in 1. Let's take a look at our battery compartment and pull out that captive pin there and take off our rubberized buttstock. Okay, some trial and error. This is a gun I'm not completely familiar with, but the bolt does need to be forward to take the butt pad off, and I think the butt pad must come off before the cheek rest will come off. So yeah, off comes that. This is our butt pad. As you can see, there's some weird funky stuff going on here to actuate your bolt release. Good amount of space for lipos even in just this section alone. So back to the back of the gun. You can see our quick change spring, very convenient. Any gun that has this is a blessing. See, it's even marked with their APS logo and all that. And then you can see our motor and our Tamiya style connections with decent space for lipos. Now we're going to get to the actual cheek rest part, which is supposed to be a cool gimmick of this gun. So that is the cheek rest, but it probably fell on the table here. So this was on the other side. This is like the blank covering. So if you wanted to make this a conceptualized left-handed gun, you would do that, put it back on the rifle, and then if we look on the other side, we do have the cutout here to accommodate our bolt release. So we can make it a complete lefty-friendly gun, even though this is a complete AEG, and the bolt's not even moving. So perhaps Hephaestus or someone like that makes a blowback kit for this gun, which would be completely awesome. I know they do it for the Type 97 and the TAR 21, 2 good bullpups that I own, and I've considered converting into gas guns. Okay, so that whole process was a little annoying to get back on, but it's all together. Of course, I'm sticking with a right-handed shooter preference, and then that will just go right back in. Doesn't need to be pulled back, and it is secure. So that is all of that, and the internals as well. So it should be really easy to disassemble this gun and take the gearbox out through the back, kind of like the F2000 from G&G. Alright, I got something special for you guys here. Look at this. This is what I call Big Chungus. This is a lipo that Phil let me borrow, and it is, you know, obviously probably like what, an RC car battery, a really big RC plane. battery, and it is going to power the gun to the moon. So let's just take a look at semi-auto. Now, there are no BBs, but just to be safe, let's just shoot straight down. 0 BBs in the gun. Now, let's check out our rate of fire, trigger response, all that good stuff with max power, so we're not going to fuck around with our battery. So there's an audible click here. There. Any more? It's got to be that click. So this is about where your adjusted trigger would end up. See, it's a really long trigger pull, so it's hard to be absolutely fast with it. So here's full auto. A bit much for this gun, I think, even. That LiPo was really strong, and I could smell the grease really loud right now after that burst. So, yep. I would not recommend an intense-ass LiPo like this for this gun. You know, it's got metal gears and all that, so it is LiPo ready. But even still, a LiPo like that will wear out your gun faster than other batteries. Putting the buttstock back on, obviously very simple and easy. And then putting the pin back in, quite difficult to not snag a wire once you get all the battery stuff in there, kind of like my TAR. So other features of the weapon besides everything that I've gone over, really you just have the quick detached sling post mount right here. And yeah, other than that, we've gone over pretty much the entire weapon. There is a compartment here on the very bottom of the pistol grip. It's obviously going to be hollow since this is a bullpup gun, and it is extremely stiff, but I gotta open it for the YouTube. There's absolutely nothing in there. You could put your Skittles in there, and maybe you could put a light system on this gun, and your battery pack can go in there. But yeah, that's the APS UAR. Here's a look at the magwell area. Very lame trademarks right there in white, so they kind of, you know, they're pretty loud. And then you could see the internals of the magwell. Does really well for fitting magazines. It's not too picky about what mags it takes. Not too picky about batteries either. Yeah, overall, very good gun. If you're going to get something CQB wise and you're looking at bullpups and you don't necessarily want a submachine gun, you still want to use M4 magazines, I think that's where the APS UARs really got you covered. Still going to be a good gun for outdoor engagements. I still intend to take this to Fighter Town. I think with that inner barrel, we're not going to be too inaccurate. And I think that performance-wise, with and without a LiPo, it is still absolutely ready for a place like Fighter Town. Parts for this gun should be really easy to get. Upgrades, very plentiful. Obviously, we have 3D printing kits. Turn it into something else pretty sci-fi, you know, maybe the Halo battle rifle. Otherwise, yeah, I highly recommend the APS UAR. I think it went up in price because it is becoming a more popular, more sought-after, cheap airsoft gun that is still very capable on the field. Other things I could say about it that I wish were different. I wish the polymer was a little bit stronger, but this is still about what you get for most AGs anyway. I'm just comparing it to like KWA's polymer. Real steel polymer is like really rigid. I believe there might be another quick detached sling post right here built into that rail. Not really sure. It's more of a two-piece gun, so you can see the seam line is right here and goes into the cheek rest. So we have 2 pins here and here holding the gun together. I wish the magazine release had a 4th option, really, right here on the side. That would be more convenient. I wish they had some kind of kit in the front to make it a longer gun. I think they said they were going to do that, but they probably never did, because you could see that your bottom rail is really short. So grenade launchers probably not going to fit unless eventually, I'm still hunting for it, I get the Magpul, you know, the really small Magpul launcher. So overall, that is the gun. Cheap, affordable, reliable, robust, good-looking, futuristic-looking, modern, tactical, ergonomic, streamlined. Yeah, those are all the things I would give it for. Good for indoor, good for outdoor. Highly recommended. So I hope you enjoyed this review of the APS UAR Urban Assault Rifle. Stay tuned, this weapon will be featured in my Battle of the Bullpups video, so stay tuned for that. Thanks for watching, and subscribe. Okay, we got the UAR with a 7.4 volt LiPo in the stock, and we have probably 0.28 gram elite forces in the mag here. Got it on semi, so the full backyard. Alright, Airsofters, there you have it. That has been the shooting test and the review of the APS UAR, and I hope you enjoyed this review.